everybody, it's Chris Eads, known online as Wootini, here with another one of my Gay Gamer video podcasts. A couple of quick movie reviews to get out of the way first. I saw Downton Abbey, which was just delightful. I heard somebody describe it as a warm hug, and I think that's pretty accurate. It's literally just like a long episode of the television series with a bigger budget, so there's a lot more extras and costumes and production values and stuff. Not that the original series was any... it was already sumptuous. This is just more so. But they don't try to, like, fix what isn't broken. You know, they don't try to be like, oh, we're gonna, you know, kill off this major character and have, like, big drama. It's not big drama. It's the typical minor dramas that are easily fixed and, oh, here's this, that, you know, and it's just lovely. So, if you're a fan of the show, definitely see it, because it's marvelous and wonderful, and it's just like revisiting your old friends, and you're, the other movie that I saw was Abominable, which is a animated film about a Yeti creature, a baby Yeti, that has been captured by scientists and wants to escape and get home to the Himalayas, and he receives some help from a young girl who decides to take it upon herself, and then her cousins come with her, and they all help him to find his way back home. And it's actually really quite charming. I'm sorry that I feel like this movie is totally flying under the radar. I have not seen that many ads for it, and I don't know if kids are gonna go. I saw it as a matinee on Friday afternoon, so it was like, there were like 6 people, all adults. There were no kids in the audience. I don't know if kids even know about this to want to see it, but they should, because it's absolutely charming. The animation is lovely, and there's some really, really like magical visuals when Everest uses his powers. And they even look really good in 3D too. I managed to get a 3D screening, so that was great. The 3D was terrific. And it's just charming and lovely and heartfelt, and I was like, oh, this is lovely. And I recommend it. It's surprisingly good. But I don't think anyone's going to see it, and it's going to disappear from theaters and make no money. But fingers crossed it can find its audience. As for gaming, obviously it's all about Dragon Quest XI, because it finally came out! Yay! As I said, I stretched the demo out as long as I could. I managed to stretch it out, like, over the weekend. I was like, okay, there's a new city, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's a new quest, and I'll go explore that crypt. Like, maybe this will be enough to drag me and take it to the Friday. But the crypt was really short, and everything was really fast and easy, and I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. And I was basically about to finish the demo on, like, Sunday, and I was like, well, that's not acceptable. So, I turned it off, and I turned it back on again. I finally finished the demo on Wednesday. I said, fine, because the last thing, like, I finished everything, and I did a story thing, and then, like, the character's like, okay, the next thing we have to do is go to Gallopolis. And I'm like, no, that's where the demo ends. When you go for Gallopolis, that's where it ends. And it's not time for the regular game to be out yet. So I didn't want to do that. But I finally did it on, like, Wednesday night after work. I said, okay, fine, because it's only a couple of days, it's fine. And I went, reached the ending. They're like, thank you for playing our demo, save your game, you can continue it in the main game. And I said, thank you. And then I just had to wait through Thursday, and then Friday I picked up my copy of the game, went and saw Abominable, then came home, and I went to play it on the train. And, of course, I go to start playing the game, and they're like, hey, there's an update. Would you like to download and install it now? And I'm like, well, no, because I'm on the subway, so that's not really going to work for me. Luckily, Nintendo allows you to continue playing the game without the update. And I just waited until I got home when I was able to get to a save point, and then I said, okay, now you can update the game, because it's going to quit and update and restart the game. So, I don't know what the update had in it, but whatever. I tried to, when you start the game, it says, hey, we see that you have a demo save, would you like to use that demo save? And I'm like, well, of course I would, because I don't want to have to play that 8 or 9 hours over again, because that's annoying. That was the whole point of this. And I loaded what I thought was the most recent save. But it didn't start me at the priest at the gate, where you save your game, finally. It started me back at a save statue in the field. Not that that matters, because it was literally from here to there, and you just go doo-doo-doo-doo, and you're there, and it takes 5 seconds, and maybe there's an enemy battle on the way, but you can avoid them if you want. So I was like, that's fine. I'll just walk down there, it's fine. So I started to play, and as soon as I neared the gate, all of a sudden I was caught up in a story dialogue with one of those cute little spirits. It turns out his name is Tickle, and he's like the mayor's son or whatever, and they all live in Talkington, which is where the spirits, they apparently are in charge of time, and they need to make sure that time continues moving smoothly and there's no interruptions and blah blah blah. So if you agree to his side quest, he takes you to Talkington, which is a 2D top-down sprite 2D world, like a retro game out of an old Dragon Quest game. And you walk around there, and then you talk to the mayor, and he explains that they have this whole big room with like these little pedestals with history books on them, and they're all messed up. Someone's torn out pages, they set fire to them, whatever, they're ruining these books. And you need to go into the books and fix what's gone wrong in history to put it right. A little time travel fixing. So, there's one book open, and you do it, and it takes you to some old town from some old Dragon Quest game that I don't know because I only played 8. And it's like a top-down, sprite version of the city, and you like walk around and you talk to the guy, and he's like, hey, we need you to get this musical instrument back because it calls monsters, and this guy used it. The enemy, it was not a guy, it was a monster, used it to like draw all these monsters to the village, and it ruined everything, and everyone ran away. So if you could get that instrument back, that would be super awesome. So you basically walk through a building and out the back. It's really quick. You fight a couple of random battles on the way. Then you fight the main bad guy. You get the instrument back. He's like, thank you so much. The town goes back to normal. There's people running around. You can walk around and talk to them or whatever, and then you can head back to Talkington where they're like, thank you so much. And it's very cute. And then basically in the game world, you'll find little Talkington sprites that will give you a password, which will allow you to enter one of the books. I found 2 so far in my just travels, just randomly. There might have been some in the previous areas. I will have to go back and check that. But I've run across like 2 so far. One was red, one was blue. They're not the regular white kind, and that means they've got a password for you. Get it? Past word, because you're going into the past. This game's all about the puns. So, like, it's very cute, and I like it because it means I can enjoy some of the 2D sprite work without playing the main game in 2D. Because that's an option in the Switch version, is to switch from the beautiful 3D world to a 2D sprite version of the same game. I did try it one time, just to see what Gallopolis looked like in sprite, and it's just a little grid, and everything is basically in the same location, but, obviously there are less buildings, there are less details, it's, a 2D sprite world, and it's cute, but I can't imagine playing the game like that. I'm sure that they programmed the entire game in 2D, which boggles my mind that they would bother doing such a thing, because who's going to play this game in 2D when you can play it in gorgeous 3D rendered graphics? But it's there if you want to do it. Maybe you could play like a little section of it. Although I suppose if you were somebody who had played the PS4 version, this would be an incentive to pick up the Switch version, because then you would have the extra content, and you could also just play it in 2D, which would be kind of a fun retro way to experience the same game in a different way. So I guess I can understand that. But I think this Talkington side quest is one of the additional Switch content things, because a friend of mine who played the PS4 version was like, what is this? What are you talking about? And I'm like, it's this whole side quest, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I think that's for the Switch. I never saw that in the PS4 version. Which makes sense, because the PS4 version didn't have the 2D sprite version of the game, so they wouldn't have had this. But I like it because it's a way that you can enjoy that retro style with the retro sound and graphics and gameplay without having to play the main game in that. Because it is it doesn't really affect the main game. It's a complete side quest. It's total fan service, which is lost on me because, like I said, I've only ever played Final Fantasy VIII. So, unless when you get to the town from 8, it'll actually be in 3D graphics because that's how it was on the PS2. But the game is delightful and charming and fun, and it's just wonderful to be able to, you know, play it as much as I want without having to, like, drag it out, you know, like I did with the demo. Now, I've got the whole game, so I can play it as much as I want, and just plow through it, because there's, whatever, like, 80 to 100 hours of gameplay in here, I've heard, so, like, let's keep going. I've got months before I'm going to finish this thing. So, it plays great, both portably and on the TV. I've had no problems, gameplay-wise. Everything is terrific. I've been plowing through it. I finished Gallopolis. I went to... I did Gallopolis, which... that's where you meet Sylvando, who is the circus performer acrobat guy that everyone was like, oh, you'll love him. He's amazing. Everyone was right. He's super flamboyant, super gay, fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. And I love this character. And when after you finish Gallopolis, he joins your party, officially, and that's when I had some party management issues, because now I have 5 characters, and you're only allowed 4 in battle. So I replaced Eric with him because they seem to be kind of equivalent of, like, physical battling, although it turns out Sylvando has some magic abilities as well, which is nice. Because I didn't want to replace Victoria or Serena, because they're my magic user and my healer. And, you know, you like to have those different aspects, you know, to have a well-rounded team. So I've been using Sylvando instead of Eric now. But I also, one of my other friends was shocked to learn that I was allowing the AI to control my party members. And I argued that it's fine, because when you're just wandering the field, they do what they do, and it's fine. Like, they're not, like, doing stupid things. Like, it seemed like the AI was good. However, at the end of the Gallopolis quest, I had to fight the Slayer of the Sands, big scary monster beast. And in this fight, because Victoria and Serena are the, you know, weak magic user types, they got taken out in the group attacks and other thing, and Victoria died. And then Serena died. Eric and I, with the help of Sylvando, were able to defeat the monster, and I thought about going back and doing it over again, but I was like, no, it didn't take that long, but it was enough that I'm like, I don't want to try again, because they might die again, and that'll be annoying, and then I'll just let them catch up, because all they're doing is losing out on the experience points. And they'll catch up on the experience points as we battle more monsters anyway, so I was like, forget it, we're not going back to redo this battle. But, like, that was the first battle that actually felt challenging, because everything in the demo was, like, super easy, and, like, nobody ever died. But here, like, people were dying, and I was like, uh-oh. So now it's, like, challenging. I'm like, okay, let's, you know, make sure I'm leveling up enough. But everything else is fine. But what that taught me was that when in the field, the AI is fine to just take out your standard monsters, but if you're going to do something important, like a boss battle, maybe, you know, I'll switch to manual control, and then I'll, you know, control every character and decide what they're going to do. I'm just lazy, so it's just easier for me, like, playing the game, to let the AI do what they want to do, because when they're just the regular monsters, it doesn't really matter, they're fine, and they don't do really stupid things. But against that boss, like, Serena's like, I'm like, why did you heal them? You should have healed yourself, what's wrong with you? And then she's dead. And I'm like, yeah, see? So this is what happens. So, that's my plan going forward, is to take manual control when I'm going to fight a boss or do something important. Otherwise, whatever. I'm going to leave the AI on, it's fine. It just means I don't have to micromanage everything, which is, like, you know, typical of a turn-based RPG, but I like being able to relax. It's fine. So, it's a great game, so much fun. I love the humor. Like I said, Gallopolis, they're all about the horses. Hotto, Hot Springs. I'm now in Gondolia, which is basically Venice with gondolas. Get it? And I just love the humor, the puns on all the names. The characters are all super charming and funny, and I just love the humor in Dragon Quest. It's so wonderful. It's a nice change of pace from the like super serious like Final Fantasy nonsense. But like, you know, like when you're like, sure, some enemies will cast like, you know, they'll make you blind or they'll make you sleepy or whatever, but then occasionally you'll have a monster that does a sultry dance, and then suddenly your character is inspired to boogie and you can't attack. So I'm like, oh, I can't attack, that sucks, but I'm boogieing, so that's kind of fun, so I don't mind as much. So it's just charming and fun. My only complaint so far with Dragon Quest XI, and I don't remember if this was how it went in Dragon Quest VIII when I played it all those years ago. You cannot access the item bag in battle. Because early on in the demo, I wanted to heal Eric. Or, like, I wanted Eric to heal himself during his turn. And, oh no, that wouldn't make sense because I would have had him under AI control, so he wouldn't have healed himself anyway. I was like, oh, let me heal you with an item, and I went to use a healing herb on him to heal his health. It was getting a little low. And I went to use a healing herb, and I could not use a medicinal herb because I didn't have any in my pockets. I had a dozen of them in the item bag, but since I didn't have it on me, on my character, I couldn't use them. You can't touch the item bag during battle. It's over there. I don't know. It's super annoying. So after that battle, I made sure to put a handful of medicinal herbs and antidotes into their pockets so that everyone would have a little something. And as I've added characters, I make sure that they get a little something too. Unfortunately, during the battle with the Slayer of the Sands, when Veronica died first, I was like, oh, I have a Yggdrasil leaf that I got somewhere, I can bring her back to life. No, because that's in the item bag. So after that battle, I made sure to put that in my bag so that I'll have that. So hopefully, as long as I'm not the one that dies first, I can bring somebody back to life. But that's so far, that's my only complaint, is having to manage the inventory that way. I much prefer the RPGs where the inventory is just, there it is, and you can take whatever you like at any time, battle, in battle, out of battle, anytime, just do what you want. So that's sort of annoying. But if that's my only complaint about this game, then that's not bad. So I hope you are all enjoying Dragon Quest as well. It's funny because the past week, I would look at my friends list and everyone's playing Zelda, Link's Awakening, and I was wondering if anyone was going to be switching to Dragon Quest, and sure enough, quite a few people are playing Dragon Quest as well as Zelda. So that's good. I don't know if maybe they finished Link's Awakening, which seems insane to finish it in a week, but maybe they did. I don't know. Or maybe they're just gonna, you know, play a little of both until they finish one. You're gonna finish Link's Awakening first. I don't like to rush through games like that. Not that I can. I don't have time for that. But I also just don't like rushing through games because then I feel like you're not really getting your money's worth. I want to savor the experience and enjoy it over time. So basically, Dragon Quest is awesome. Come back next time and I'll probably talk more about Dragon Quest. I don't know what else I don't know if I'm going to be playing anything else for a while. So, warning, the next couple episodes could be very Dragon Quest heavy. If you don't like Dragon Quest, you may not want to tune in. Just a warning. See you then. Bye!